Hello and welcome to Nick V Uncensored. Today we've got Lewis Herms, and today we're going to be talking about a tweet that Trump did on Gavin Newsom. We're going to talk about the 63, what it means, the 63 judiciary tariffs, and also Trump allowing glyphosate. What is going on here? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it strategic? What's going on? Lewis, thank you so much for joining me. How are you, and what have you been up to, sir?
I've been on the campaign trail. Dun,
You
dun, dun.
You have been, and it's very interesting that you have been because we're going to get into that. And the way we're going to get into it is first of all is Trump has tweeted or on Truth Social, "Wow, Gavin Newsom just dropped out of the presidential race, President DJT." Now, you're saying, because I spoke to you about this, Lewis, and you're saying that there's no reports of this online, is there? But Donald Trump has posted this on Truth Social. And I always say, well, Donald Trump knows more information. He's 5 steps ahead, and it's probably going to be headlines very shortly. What do you think about that?
Well, one of three things. So either President Trump went into Project Looking Glass and he knows that Gavin Newsom's going to drop out. But on the serious side, he one or two things are happening, I believe. Either he knows the information ahead of time, and this is what's going to happen, which he's done hundreds of times now. Everybody says, "Oh, it's BS," and then it happens. Or he could be trolling Gavin Newsom, because I know they've got this troll fest going on back and forth where Newsom is always going after Trump on ridiculous things, constantly trolling him, looking like a child. So I think Trump may just be hitting back one time. So we don't know, but I'll lean to number two. President Trump knows ahead of time, and then Gavin Newsom will drop out, which would kind of make sense because going up and down state of California, nobody, even Democrats, have an appetite for this guy. They can't stand him. So the fact that he would be polling number one in a presidential race is lunacy. It does not even exist, right? There's nobody in California that likes it. And I talk to Democrats, and they're like, no way. They're so excited to get this guy out of here.
Even Democrats do not like
Even
Gavin Newsom.
Democrats.
What's their reason when you ask them, like, well, because it's very interesting to know.
Well, let me give you an anecdote to it, and then I'll tell you the reason. So when I turned in I'll give you two. Number one, during the recall election of Gavin Newsom, we polled 26 people, 26 out of 26. We had no idea what their political preference was. All said, we got to get the guy out of there. That's huge. Then when I turned in my papers, 4 people at the post office said, "Oh, we can't wait to get this guy out of here." And a couple of them, at least 3 of them out of the 4, were definitely very, very left, right? That was interesting. But the reasons are, they're looking at the economy in California. They're looking at everybody moving out. They're looking at the highest gas taxes around. The one of the worst sectors in regards to education, one of the worst sectors in regards to energy prices, and things are just being destroyed. But then they watched the way he managed, I think intentionally, the fires, and people are just so upset with him across the board. They just cannot stand this guy.
Yeah.
And right now, I believe what's happening in California with Gavin Newsom and his cronies. See, at the end of every war, many times the enemy will do what's called a scorched earth policy, where they burn everything down so it's not usable for the enemy that's coming to take over them. I believe that's what Gavin Newsom's doing in California right now. He's using scorched earth policies to just destroy California, and his legislature is involved in it also.
They're all fraudsters, all a big web of corruption, deep state players, probably all involved in the Epstein list, and it's just a domino effect. We've had Prince Andrew, taken down recently. I think it's just a matter of time until it's all going to come down. Now, obviously, you're running for, a candidacy of a governor of California. Tell us about how it's going on and what you want to do to California. What are the key things that you want to bring to California to make a very big impact?
Well, one of the first things that we're going to do is we're going to do what I call a super doge. We're going to go and forensic audit the complete budget, head to toe. I've said for years, I've said it on this show, that we are so corrupt here, and the wharf, which I call it, the waste, the abuse, the redundancy, and the fraud with inside the budget is second to none. And in fact, the last February, a year ago, I said it's probably 75% of the budget. Can you imagine that? 75% is completely misused. And it looks like today, I was crazy then, and today I'm right, just like on the Epstein, just like on the chemtrails, just like on COVID. All the things that we talked about now are all being, we knew are true, but now in the public is seeing that they're true. So if we go, when we go in and we super doge that budget, Nick, imagine now you take a $500 billion budget and you reduce $350 billion in waste. The things it opens up are crazy. Immediately, buy property tax, which, by the way, is illegal in my opinion. Buy income tax. You have a surplus to put it where you need to put it, where we can maybe subsidize the farming in a better way to get clean, healthy farms, and the rest you give back to the people of California and bring in the best businesses possible. That alone sets us up for so many things. But I will deeply be going after child sex slavery. Huge. I'm going to have a sheriff symposium the first month to go with this. I'm going to re-explain to sheriffs that they're constitutional sheriffs. And if they honor their badge as a constitutional sheriff, so we will support them. If they don't, we are going to be exposing them. Those two things alone will fix everything. But then I'm going to be mega maha, and we're going to do some wonderful things in regards to the health of California, because we should be the healthiest state on the planet by far. We should be leading by example, not following from behind.
Absolutely, no, of course. What challenges do you think you will have as governor of California, in regards to with Congress stopping you from doing certain things, and obviously you might need their approval and stuff like that. For an example, property taxes.
Yeah, well, the legislature is going to be a big deal, a huge deal, because they run a super majority in California right now of Democrats. But here's what we need to focus on, and we're gonna really go after this. Election fraud is real. We have the evidence. Now, when you prove election fraud is real, fraud vitiates everything. So what that does is that's going to get rid of, in my opinion, most of the legislature, and then we're going to be able to have a special election and reset that legislature the way the people want it. And that will be absolutely humongous. But in the meantime, I can do a lot of things. I have the ability to freeze funds on certain things, add funds to others, do audits, right? Help create some regulations. I can start a bill, but the bill has to pass through legislature. But what we're going to do to hold them accountable is I have a website called exposure.ca.gov that we're working on. And anytime we put together, say, a 2-page bill that talks about ending child sex slavery and how we can do it, if they vote against it, their name goes on the website, their face goes on the website, their phone number goes on the website, how you can get a hold of them, and we, the people, are going to be holding them accountable. I think they'll be standing outside their office protesting and putting pressure on them, because we, the people, need to take over the government. We are the governor. We should be governing, not the employees that we look at as the employers. We need to flip that around. I'm an employee. When I'm in office, I'm an employee of the people, and I need to act like one.
Absolutely. The thing is, with the government, we don't really have a government because it's been hijacked by a bunch of criminals.
Yep.
And what we're doing now is we need good, clean people like yourself who cares about the country, who wants to do the right thing. We want to take the criminals out. The Epstein list for me is a way of cleaning out a lot of things in the world. And yeah, this is what we need to do. And you're doing fantastic. And I want everyone to support Lewis if you can. The link's below in the description to support Lewis. If you need to make any donations to him, please do. Let's talk about the 63 judiciary tariffs. What is that about, Lewis?
So there was a 6-3 decision in the Supreme Court, the SCOTUS, that decided that President Trump could not initiate these tariffs under what they call the IEEPA, and therefore they banished this tariffs. I believe they even talked about refunding the money. Trump immediately found a way around that, so that was fantastic. He was on it. Here's the challenge, though. It was a 6-3 decision against President Trump. What it did is it exposed three people within inside SCOTUS that I've been questioning for a while, and they're conservatives. So John Roberts, who we know is connected to Epstein, right? So he's the Supreme Court in the Supreme Court justice. He's their so-called leader. He's connected to Epstein. So that one wasn't a surprise. And then it also exposed Amy Coney Barrett. Well, she was actually, while the Haiti debacle and the earthquakes were going on and the Clinton Foundation, that's weird that my camera did that, huh? It does that every once in a while. Anyways, while the Clinton Foundation deal was going on, she was down there with her husband picking up two children from Haiti, right? She's a conservative judge, very concerned. She's also been financed through these groups that are actually anti-tariffs. Interesting enough, right? And then this is the big one. This is the turncoat moment for her. Although she's been kind of left of even Jackson in regards to that. And let me see if I can look at my camera real quick.
I have to say, I love that picture of you on top of that cabinet, the one on the wall.
Yes. So
I'm exposing you to this now.
Traveling on the Truth Tour, somebody painted that for me. It was so amazing.
I love it.
Right?
It's great.
You can see my tinfoil hats up there.
Yeah. I can see it all.
A lot. My wife's desk back there. There we go.
There we go.
So, anyways, so she's kind of been a turncoat in regards to that, and she's actually done a lot of weird decisions, even left of Jackson on the Supreme Court. But then there's Gorsuch, which everybody, this guy's amazing. He's been doing the same thing, but on the tariffs, he went against President Trump again. And it doesn't make sense until you look into his background. And there's a couple of people that have been in a battle with President Trump, just happen to be the same ones that recommended him to President Trump, and has been financing this guy's ways forward. So I believe those could be three deep state actors that are being exposed again on SCOTUS. So we'll see what happens. But we are in very, very interesting times.
Interesting. Absolutely. Now, I've heard a few people complain about why Trump is allowing glyphosate. What do you think is going on there? And for those who don't know, can you explain what glyphosate is as well, please, Lewis?
Yeah. So it's when they spray the chemicals, it's supposed to be used to protect us from bugs and so on and so forth, and get a better yield from crops. And it's got some horrible side effects that we can see, possibly as much as cancer. And I know that Secretary Kennedy was and is against glyphosates. So what happened is President Trump actually signed into law that not only are glyphosates are going to be good, but we will be protecting the companies that are spraying them. And in essence, they're going to be immune. So my triggered response is to get upset. And then I really thought about the way President Trump works, right? There's got to be something going on. And what it really is he's bringing it back so the Chinese can't be involved. And it's all going to have to be in-house made glyphosates with inside of the United States, which temporarily will protect us. Because, in fact, Bobby Kennedy made a post today, and he says that we use roughly 25% of the pesticides on the planet, even though we're only 4% of the population, right? Mm-hmm. And he made a good point. He says if these inputs disappeared overnight, our crop yields would fall, food prices would go through the roof, right? And we would experience a massive loss of farms beyond what we were witnessing today, and it would be disastrous. We may not even be able to recover. So what he's saying is if we bring these in-house temporarily and then start acclimating ourselves out of this, then it's not going to affect the agricultural is larger than normally would. Now that's hard for me because I'm very, very Maha, make America healthy again. But if you really look at the viability of this, we do have to transition these farms because many farms, and a lot of people don't know this, their soils are already poisoned and their soils need to get regenerated, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to be adopting next generation technologies, including laser guided weed control, electrothermal and electrical systems. I mean, even robotics, precision mechanical cultivation. So what this does is instead of doing the blanket spraying, we can piecemeal it and protect the people from the poisons themselves while transitioning out. Ultimately, I want to get completely away from the chemicals and the
Yeah.
spraying, right? That's the goal. So this looks like more of it's a transition period because if we just dropped it wholesale, everything would fall apart. And there would be a couple farms left, but nobody would have any food.
So you're
So
saying it's more of a transition period, more like a bridge to phase it out after. Maybe he's trying to
exactly right.
position it first before he exits.
Exactly right. So at first I was very concerned about it, but the more I look at it, dig into it, and the more I see what Bobby Kennedy is saying, it makes sense because if we have it in-house in the United States, now we can control it, right? So now we have to start pulling it back while we're building up the systems to get rid of it at the same time. It's kind of like with the healthcare industry, right? We are in an industry now with the medical mafia controlling everything. Right, we're getting poisoned wholesale for sure. But if we just got rid of all doctors and all the hospitals, there would be a major cry. There would be nobody would be able to get any help whatsoever because they're still locked into the old matrix, right? So I think this is a transition. Same thing we have to do. We have to transition people from
Mm.
the medical addiction culture into preventive health, right? So I think it's actually brilliant, and I will have to say, but at first I was triggered when I saw it. I was a little bit upset.
Of course, I think we all was, but it makes a lot of sense because, obviously, I know it's a very cliche thing to say, but he's playing chess. You've got to position things before you can act on them. So sometimes, and that's what he's doing. A bit like what we saw with the Epstein when he says, "Why is the Epstein thing so important? It's not important right now. We've got better things to worry about." And everyone was upset about that, but it was a strategy, and that's what we're probably seeing with the glyphosate right now. Is that what you're trying to say?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Because it takes time to rebuild these infrastructures. Can we have to reformat 95% of farming to do it differently. It's going to take some time to transition. Same thing with the medical industry, right? Ultimately, most people are going to want to be on a true health care, health maintenance program, not these symptom attacks with drugs. That's not where we want to be. So, but that's going to take a while to transition out of that.
Absolutely. I want to move on now to a guy that you introduced me to. His name is Matt Geiger. And what he's done is he's helped a lot of people, a lot of my viewers, move their 401ks and IRAs into gold and silver. And recently, obviously, we saw what happened with gold. They've tripled and doubled and quadrupled their money, okay, because of that move. Now, had they left it into fiat currency, they wouldn't have had made that money. If anything, they'll be losing money, not because they're losing the money in their 401ks, but the value of their 401k is going down because of printing more money. That's what they're doing. They're printing more money, weakens the currency, but gold has just got flown up, has rocketed up. And this is what this platform's about. It's about taking your money out from the system, from the monopoly fake fiat currency, and putting it into real currency, which is gold, real money, and hedging yourself against inflation to protect your future, your retirement, and your families. And I want to leave the link below in the description so you can call Matt Geiger. You can I'll leave the link below so you can contact him. He will guide you through it. I think this is a no-brainer. Everyone has to do this. Get your 401ks out of that deep state system. It's a must do. I think everyone that's watching this now, this video, and following me and Lewis, you should know by now that fiat currency is a no-go. Okay, but obviously we're so programmed and social conditioned from so many years to be paying into our 401ks or paying into your pension or your IRAs, because it's a habit. Okay, but we need to get out of that habit. We need to reprogram ourselves into sovereignty and start putting it into gold and silver, where it's going up, where it's actually working for us and making us wealthy over time by doing literally nothing. Lewis, do you want to add to that, please?
I'm only going to add one small part because you covered it just beautifully. It's really simple. If you're looking to get into gold and silver, why would you pay these astronomical fees that you would pay with these other companies? Sometimes Matt is 1/3 or a quarter of the fees that he's charging for better service, literally better service. And you pay, the fees are just minuscule in comparison. So it's a no-brainer, in my opinion, to use Verity Metals.
Absolutely. And the link is below in the description. And the link is below in the description if you want to support Lewis Herms for governor of Florida, of California. I'm so sorry, Lewis. I keep getting that wrong. That I've been to Florida so many.
Only one, yeah.
I've been to Florida so many times. It's like, PTSD, But Lewis, is there anything else that you'd like to say to the viewers before we finish?
No, I just appreciate everybody. If you want to see what I'm doing, just go to hermsforcali.com or my screwbiggov.com. But we're really changing things and shaking things up here. It's going to be exciting in the next couple of weeks.
Absolutely. Well, Lewis, you take care and we'll speak again very soon. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.